Greetings, Phenixx fans. I'm David Sanders, and welcome to my beginner's guide to Sid Meier's Civilization 6 version 2.0. That's right, my friends, it's another beginner's guide, another several-month project undertaken, but I hope it'll be worth it. Because if you remember from my last beginner's guide, the audio was a mess. I didn't have it set up right at all. I was way too aggressive with my noise gate, which I'm not even using anymore. It was just not the best content that I can produce, that I know I can produce. So we're gonna fix all that this time around, but how are we gonna do that, you ask? Why, we're gonna focus on the New Frontier Pass, of course. I should mention that I'm going to include as much basic game knowledge in this series as I can, since it is Beginner's Guide 2.0, but I'm also going to go over a lot of the new stuff that was added in the New Frontier Pass and in subsequent updates after Gathering Storm initially launched, which was, geez, forever ago now. But there have been several updates outside of the New Frontier Pass since Gathering Storm launched as well. Free updates that added such things as new units and balance changes to existing civs. So I'll cover stuff like that as best I can too. I should also mention that in terms of the length of each episode in this guide, they'll be as long as I think they need to be, but I'm going to try to keep them on the shorter side because I know a lot of you guys don't really want to sit and watch me play Civ for hours on end necessarily, but if you do, stick around. Let's get into it. So I'm going to go to create a game. We'll get to the game modes in a second. So here are the new leaders in the New Frontier Pass. We have Ambiorix of Gaul. Give that a few seconds to give you time to read his unique abilities and districts and whatnot. We have, I am so sorry for the way I'm about to pronounce this, but it's the best I can do. We have Ba Trieu of Vietnam. Same procedure, give you a few seconds to read her unique abilities and whatnot. We have Basil II, leader of Byzantium. I like him. He's fun to play as. And he will be making an appearance throughout this guide at least once. I can guarantee you that. We have Magnificence Catherine de' Medici, which is one of 2 persona packs that was added in the New Frontier Pass if you buy the whole thing rather than just buying the DLC packs from it that you want. This version of the French leader is different from her Black Queen counterpart you can see above there, in that not only does she have a different character model, just switch between the two there just to give you a comparison, she's also got a different unique leader ability, as you can see here and here. She's got different gameplay agendas, different AI interactions, and things like that. We've got, who else is there? Hammurabi of Babylon. He's good for science victories if you know what you're doing, as you'll see if you read his abilities on the side there, which I'll give you a few seconds to do while I talk aimlessly. We've got João III of Portugal. Oops, hang on. There we go. Give you a few seconds to read his abilities there. You can pause the video if you need to. I am totally cool with that. Not that I could stop you if I weren't, but that's beside the point. We have a new leader for both China and Mongolia in the form of Kublai Khan, grandson of the already present Genghis Khan, who can only lead Mongolia. Genghis Khan basically, or Kublai Khan, I mean, basically does the same thing as Eleanor of Aquitaine does for England and France in Gathering Storm. He has a unique leader ability in both civilizations, which remains the same, as you'll see if I stop switching between them so quickly. We have Lady Six Sky of the Maya. Just going with the same procedure here of giving you time to read up on her briefly. We've got Menelik II of Ethiopia. He likes to, as Iron Maiden once famously put it, run to the hills, run for his life. That made no sense, but what I'm saying is he likes to build his cities on hills. So there's that. Who else was there? Not you, not you. Simón Bolívar of Gran Colombia. He's a bit of a jerk if you let him be, in terms of his little leader cutscenes if he's an AI. He'll say things like, "May I offer a friendly word of warning? Change your ways, friend, or those who lead promoted armies will change them for you." As if he is threatening me, and you do not threaten an employee of Phenixx Gaming. I don't know where I was going with that. And, let's see. We've got Rough Rider Teddy Roosevelt, whom some of you may remember from the entire series I did where I played as him. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to the playlist in the description and in the upper right corner right now, so you can go check that out at your leisure. Just gotta make sure I didn't miss anyone. So let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so that's all the new leaders and a basic overview of what they do if you manage to read up on that in time. Just to start things off, I'm going to go with... I'm going to go for a science victory in this first game that I'll be presenting throughout this guide, so I'm going to go with Hammurabi. Game difficulty Warlord, game speed standard because I never play with anything else because I am not a masochist. Map type continents is fine. Map size standard. And now we get to the game modes. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. You can toggle as many or as few of them on in any game as you want. I'll give you a brief overview of what they do, but I should mention before I get into that, most of them do require either of the expansions, either Rise and Fall or Gathering Storm, if not both. Apocalypse mode here is one that requires Gathering Storm because it relies on the natural disaster mechanics, and Dramatic Ages mode here relies on Rise and Fall's Golden Age, Dark Age, and Heroic Age mechanics, even though Golden Age, Heroic Ages don't really exist in this mode, or do they? Whatever. So we've got Apocalypse mode, which, as you can see, adds new natural disasters, larger and more impactful versions of existing disasters, and increases the chances of all natural disasters happening. Apocalypse mode also adds the Soothsayer unit to the game, and should the climate reach its final level of change, the game automatically ends in a draw because the world ends, literally. So sleep well tonight, climatologists. I've made that joke before in a video. If you remember that one, kudos to you. We have Barbarian Clans mode, which replaces standard barbarian tribes with a diverse set of clans, each with its own terrain and combat preferences, and the ability for those barbarian clans to eventually form themselves into city-states if they're left undisturbed for long enough, by which I mean not wiped off the face of the earth. We've got Dramatic Ages mode, which makes it so that the only time you get a normal age is the first era of the game, and beyond that you either get a Dark Age or a Golden Age. There's no in-between. And based on which you get, you gain access to powerful new social policies based on their age. You can see what's going on there on the side there. Heroes and Legends mode, that's one of my favorites. What it does is it adds 12 powerful heroes from the world's myths and legends, like Hercules, Mulan, Anansi, Sinbad, Beowulf, and several others who currently escape me. We've got Monopolies and Corporations mode, which is literally just, to quote Tim Curry, I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism, space. Except that even space has probably been corrupted by that by now, in the game and in real life. I'm just gonna leave that there before I get too political. Secret Societies mode, this is another one of my favorites. Based on the size of the map, this one adds up to 4 secret societies that you can join. Well, you can only join one, and you can't leave it once you've joined, but you have your choice once you've discovered them all, and you don't have to choose one immediately or at all if you don't want to. Tech and Civic Shuffle mode is probably my second least favorite of all 8 modes in this. It does what it says on the tin, really. It just shuffles the order in which you can research techs and civics, which could be a huge benefit to you if you get really lucky with it, but I have not thus far, so that's a big reason why I don't like it so much. And then finally, we have something that in my opinion has been done to death, and yes, I just said that so I can make the pun, Zombie Defense Mode. This basically means that all slain military units have a chance to return to play as zombies, which basically function as barbarians unless you complete a citywide project to temporarily take control of them. And with builders and certain technologies research, you can build defenses against the hordes of the undead. And that's pretty much that. So for this first game, I'm just going to go with my 3 favorites. Heroes and Legends mode, Monopolies and Corporations mode, and Secret Societies mode. And now we'll go into advanced setup. And against whom am I going to play? Old Redbeard. Don't want to be a Canadian idiot. The people who apparently eat banana pizzas, which is a thing that I read on the internet and therefore it must be true. Australia. Rough Rider Teddy. Or Theodore, he didn't like being called Teddy when he was alive, so I'm going to do my best to respect his wishes. Lady Six Sky, because why not? Actually, that could get confusing with Australia, so let's change the color scheme a bit more. There we go. And finally... Pericles, why not? Okay. So, rule set, expansion Gathering Storm, game difficulty Warlord, start era Ancient Era, game speed online, city states and disaster intensity are fine, continents is fine, map size standard. Leader pools, this only affects which leaders the game can pull from if you just leave all the AI leaders set to random. Resources I'm going to set to abundant just because I like it that way. You can now select any specific city-states that you want to appear in a game as you can with Natural Wonders. World Age I'm going to leave as is. Start position I'm going to set to Legendary just cause. Temperature, rainfall, and sea level basically dictate whether the map has more tundra, more desert, or is just normal. Rainfall dictates that it has more average or less amounts of woods, rainforest, and marsh tiles, and sea level basically just dictates how much land there is compared to sea. And I think... Oh, nope, we're not quite done yet. I'm going to leave barbarians on. I'm going to turn off turn limit, because I don't want to be arbitrarily interrupted by a turn limit when I'm trying to teach you. So, I think that's everything, so let's get into this, shall we? Here we go.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest. From this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. Great Hammurabi, your word is your law. You live and lead by your code, and will make sure that your empire does too. You see the world as a complex web of alliances, possibilities and risks. Weigh the odds carefully as you build your empire to unite Mesopotamia.
Doesn't Hammurabi just look so pleased? Like you could just walk up to him and shake his hand and not get immediately murdered. Alright, we're only almost 17 minutes into the video, and we're just now getting into the game. So that was a bit of a lengthy intro. I apologize for that. Yeah, we'll settle here, why not? And as usual, I'm going to set my default unit of warriors to garrison in my capital city. I'm going to get pottery first. And I usually do scout, monument, builder. But since this is a production queue, you can always swap things around if you need to, or remove things from the queue entirely. And we just gotta kill some time until our first scout is developed. There we go. Now, scouts are your first reconnaissance unit. Their job is to basically, as their name implies, scout out the map, see what there is to see, and give you more of an idea of what's around you, and more importantly, who is around you. So with this button here, you can send any recon units you have to explore automatically, so you can just let them do their own thing unless they get a promotion, in which case you have to intervene and choose that promotion. But for the most part, I just let my reconnaissance units just do their own thing. So that's what I'm going to do with these scouts. Oh, barbarians. Alright, automate exploration again. Ooh, we found a tribal village. Tribal villages are basically the same thing as... Oh, Sean Bean's talking.
Separated from law and justice, he is the worst.
Alright, so we've unlocked our first social policies, which take the form of these cards here, and are arranged into 4 categories: military, economic, diplomatic, and wild card. Since we're currently a chiefdom with no bonuses to card slots, we have 1 military policy slot and 1 economic policy slot available to us right now. So I'm going to go with discipline because I did not turn off barbarians this game, so that extra combat strength is going to come in handy. And I pretty much always go God King as my first economic policy because it's a good source of both faith and gold, which we are both of which we are currently kind of lacking right now, faith especially. And we can research our first civic now that Code of Laws is finished. I'm going to go with foreign trade because that'll unlock the trader unit in case we run into any city-states or
man ever wetted clay and then left
other civs. I just nearly choked on saliva, don't mind me. So that I just glossed over completely was the first instance of Heroes and Legends mode. We found our first hero, and in 3 turns, once we finish producing this monument in Babylon, we can perform what's called a devotion to any heroes that we've discovered that have not been claimed by any other civs yet. Upon completion of those devotion projects, we can claim any heroes that we devote ourselves to temporarily. They do have a finite lifespan, after which they will, well, die. but they can be recalled in later eras by spending increasing amounts of faith. We'll get into that later, I'm sure, perhaps much later, but I'll still make a point to talk about it, if I remember. And I guess we're just killing time. That's a flood. That's a natural disaster that Gathering Storm introduced.
It lies, I will venture, in the power of the odd and unexpected, to startle the senses and surprise the mind out of their ruts of habit.
Okay, we have found ourselves our first natural wonder. These are good for general bonuses, like you get era score for just discovering them, which affects whether or not you get a Dark Age, Golden Age, or Normal Age. This is another hero in Heroes and Legends mode. Where was I? That's a secret society that we've just discovered and can join if we wish. In fact, I think I might. And this gives me the opportunity to talk about governors, which were introduced in Rise and Fall. Unless you are playing as the Ottoman Empire, in which case you have access to a unique 8th governor called the Grand Vizier. Every playable civ has access to these 7 governors. All 7 governors have the exact same promotions and promotion orders for every civ. So Victor the Castellan is your military commander type guy, if you couldn't tell by the plate mail armor and the eye patch. And the exquisite mustache, I must say. Amani the diplomat can be either assigned as a governor in one of your cities or put in a city-state to meddle with their affairs. Moksha is the center of religion when it comes to governors. You can see by some of his promotions that he boosts religious pressure and religious strength in theological combat and unit healing, faith generation, etc., etc. Magnus, if you couldn't tell by the bowler hat and the mutton chops, is the production expert, essentially. He can increase the power generation that your power plants produce for nearby cities. He can make it so that training a settler in a city does not consume one of that city's population, which is actually really nice in most circumstances. Liang, the surveyor, I rarely choose her, honestly, because I tend to focus on Victor, Moksha, Magnus, and Pingala first before anyone else. But she's the production side of things, and she can also generate bonus culture, housing, and bonus build charges for builders. We'll get into that in a minute. Pingala, if you couldn't tell by the educator title, is the science expert, for lack of a better descriptive phrase. He focuses on culture and science generation based in your cities, and he can also make it so that all late-game space program projects have increased production going to them, which produces them faster. And finally, we have Reyna, the financier. You can pretty much see what she's got going on there. So she's the gold generation expert, I would say. And over here we have our first secret society, the Hermetic Order. So what these guys do is they're all about ley lines, which they reveal to you if you join them. And again, you cannot leave a secret society in a game that you have chosen one. And ley lines give a major adjacency bonus to all specialty districts. What that means is that if you put a specialty district like a campus or a commercial hub near a ley line, that district will be more effective at what it does. So, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and join the Hermetic Order since I'm playing as Babylon, because I want those adjacency bonuses to my campuses especially, because Babylon has a unique ability that allows it to unlock technological upgrades faster, but also completely hampers, well, not completely, but devastates its per turn science generation, because you can immediately unlock any tech that you get the Eureka for, which I'll get to that in a short amount of time, I'm sure. But your per turn science generation is permanently reduced by half in exchange for that, so techs will take longer to research unless you get the Eureka for them, but if you do get the Eureka, you automatically unlock them, if that makes any sense. I'm gonna go for craftsmanship here, just cause. Kajingle. That kajingle sound means we've met someone, either an AI civ or a city-state, but we know it's a city-state because we didn't get a cutscene with an AI civ leader. I'm going to send this builder over to this tile of rice here, and the main difference between builders in Civ 6 and builders in, say, Civ 5...
Pela graça de Deus, nós somos João, rei de Portugal. Bem-vindos sejais.
Sup? How's it going, mate? So, when you meet a new AI leader for the first time, you have two dialogue options, depending on who met whom first and who is closer to whose city when your units meet each other. That sounded like a euphemism, but I swear it's not. It sounds like he met me first, by which I mean he discovered one of my units or cities, so I have the "it is an honor to meet you" option, which is the one I always take because I don't like to be a jerk at first. Or we have the jerk option, which is "well met stranger, but I'm afraid we're too busy to stay in chat," which, although I feel like that's exactly what Hammurabi would say, I'm not going to go that route because, as I said, I don't like to be a jerk, so I'm going to say "it's an honor to meet you." And by this, he means he wants me to send a unit to his nearby city so that I know where it is. Sometimes civs like this will ask to exchange the location of your capital cities. You can either accept or decline that request. I always accept it, just cause, really. So I'm going to accept his invitation.
Is easy. Oh, yeah.
And because we met a new civ, we got the Eureka moment for writing. But because we're Babylon, we automatically unlocked writing fully because we got the Eureka for it. That's how Babylon works. So, like, say I wanted to research currency. That's currently going to take 4 turns, but if I were to send a trade route, I'd unlock it immediately because I'm Babylon. I hope this is making sense, because I have not always been the best at articulating this kind of stuff. So we're going to go with animal husbandry, because we're about to get irrigation once we build a farm on this rice. Oh, right, I was making a point about builders, wasn't I? The main difference between builders in Civ 6 and workers in, say, Civ 5 is that builders in this game can construct tile improvements immediately, like, see, it just took 1 click to build that farm, whereas workers in Civ 5 could be used indefinitely, but it would take several turns to construct any tile improvements like farms or roads or things like that. And in Civ 6, because they can construct tile improvements immediately, they have finite build charges, which you can extend by social policies and building certain wonders like the pyramids. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, what Portugal is asking here is if he can send a diplomatic delegation to my capital city. What that will do for him is give him a bit more diplomatic access to me, which means he knows more about me than I would know about him. And that can be a bad thing if you're not careful, especially around civs like France, who thrive on knowing more about AI civs than they know about France. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and accept this delegation just to be nice. And you'll notice that, uh-oh, my workers got captured. I gotta go fix that. Where was I? you'll notice that if you send a diplomatic delegation to a civ and they decline it, that's probably because they don't know you well enough to accept it yet. But I've noticed that they are almost guaranteed, at least in my experience, to accept your delegations if you send one right after they send you one. So since Joao here just sent me one and I accepted it, I'm going to spend the 10 gold and send one to him. He accepted it, see? So, that's that. It's just seen as a friendly gesture in this point in the game.
Without craftsmanship.
Well, guess I'm not getting those builders back. Oh well, whatever. Or am I? Nah, it's not worth it. They can have them. Sorry, lads. Nothing I can do for you. Do I have mining yet? I don't think so. Oh well. Okay, so we're gonna get Early Empire. Ooh, what's this? Oh right, my unique watermill replacement. So I'm gonna build a campus first. On this tile of hills here. Then a granary to generate bonus food. Then a palgum, aka a watermill. And then, what the heck, a trader. So that I can trade with one of the nearby city-states or the nearby Portuguese city, depending on the range of my trade route. We just discovered Hercules, so that's cool. Hercules is among my favorite heroes in the Heroes and Legends mode. What's up here? Uh-oh. Run, boy, run. Man, somebody got Hercules already? That was quick. Okay, so what we can do here is found a religious pantheon, which gives you a unique buff and is the basis for founding a full religion if you are lucky enough to get a great prophet before all of them are claimed. But if you're playing as Arabia, you don't have to worry about that, because one of your passive abilities automatically grants you the final great prophet that is available in the game once the second to last one is claimed. So you are guaranteed to be able to found a religion of your own. These buffs do various things based on what you do with them. Like if I were to go with Monument to the Gods, that would be good for building wonders until the first couple of eras in the game went by. There's one that gives you a free settler, there's one that gives you a free builder, but of course, just my luck, it looks like those have already been chosen, so that happens a lot, and what I do in that case is I always go with City Patron Goddess, because the extra production for cities that do not have a district can usually come in pretty handy. Oh yes, before I forget to mention, as of the April 29, 2021 update, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that's the update that added this. See how the scout has a dog here? You can click this button, and the scout will pet the dog. Is this not now the best game? Okay, so go back to exploring. Just don't get yourself killed, please. So, when a civ says this to you, it means they know about your secret society and they chose a different one than you chose. There's also a message that you'll see if a civ chose the same society as you. Something about, I see you by your signs and I'm glad to know we're kin. That's what that means, and that's what Joao is saying here when he says he sees the mark of evil on me, because I chose a different society to him. So that's all that means. Okay, so I don't believe I have mining yet still, but I'm gonna send you guys over there anyway to get a mine on that copper when the time comes.
I am fond of pigs.
Good for you, Sir Winston Churchill. I was correct, I do not have mining yet, so let's work on that.
was luxuries like air conditioning that brought down the Roman Empire. With air conditioning, their windows were shut. They couldn't hear the barbarians coming.
Blasted air conditioning. Okay, so we're gonna go with military tradition, because our military advisor says we should. We can promote a governor. We should probably do that, because we just joined a society as soon as we got a governor title. So I'm gonna appoint Pingala as governor of Babylon. It'll take 5 turns for any governor to establish political power in any city to which you send them. So that's what this little 5 means by Pingala's head here. And we have company on the borders of Babylon. So I'm not going to let them get this unit of builders too, if I can help it. And thankfully, what I can do about that is move my warriors onto the same tile as my builders here. And I can make what's called an escort formation between the two, which means that they move together and the builders cannot be captured unless the warriors are killed, which is extremely convenient for situations like this.
When you find yourself in a hole, quit digging.
No, you. Okay. So what this flashing red light means here means I've only got 5 out of 8 era score that I need to attain a normal age next era. And the fact that it's flashing red means that this era is about to end in a few turns, which means I don't have very long to get that era score. So we may very well be headed for our first Dark Age, which is not ideal, but will survive, I'm sure. And I'm going to go with bronze working, just to reveal iron on the map once it's done. Alright, you guys are going to mine that.
Reinvent the wheel.
And by mining something, we have triggered the Eureka moment for the wheel, which, because we're Babylon, means we automatically unlock the wheel. Beat 'em up, boys. There you go. Oh, that's a lot of barbarians, isn't it?
Bravery is being the...
Yep, so we're in a Dark Age. I'll explain what that means further in a second. Uh-oh. That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, it's fixed. So every time an era passes and a new one starts in at least Rise and Fall, you gain the ability to make at least one dedication based on whether you got a Dark Age, a Normal Age, a Heroic Age, or a Golden Age. So we're in a Dark Age right now, and what that means you can see here, each of your citizens exerts 0.5 loyalty pressure in their city. This pressure also affects other cities within 9 tiles, but is 10% less effective per tile. So what that means is, summed up right here, it will be harder to maintain loyalty in your cities, and more difficult to affect the loyalty of nearby foreign cities. Which means that if you lose enough loyalty in a city, that city will essentially, to borrow a term from the American lexicon, secede from the Union and become a free city, which, if you want it back, you will have to either recapture it via loyalty pressure or by military force before someone beats you to it, and they can capture your free cities in the same methods. Again, loyalty pressure or military force, or some combination of both. So that's how that works, and these are the dedications for a classical era Dark Age. We can make one of them. I'm gonna go with, because I'm Babylon, I'm gonna go with Free Inquiry here. So if I were to fill this meter completely and get 11 era score before the next era starts, I would be considered out of a Dark Age and in a Normal Age, But if I were to double the amount of era score that I got, and got, say, 22 era score before the next era started, that would be enough for a Golden Age by itself, which would be great ordinarily, but even better since I'm in a Dark Age, because coming out of a Dark Age into a Golden Age is considered a Heroic Age, which means you get to make not 1, but 3 dedications, and you get a bunch of other buffs too. So, not ideal to go through Dark Ages, but Heroic Ages are pretty much almost worth it, I'd say. If that makes any sense. Okay, how much gold are we working with here? 220? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and buy one of these, which is Babylon's unique Ancient Era melee unit, which has incredibly increased combat strength against cavalry units, none of which I'm currently fighting, but you know how it is. It'll still help to fend off the barbarians, I hope. Back to exploring with you.
Mysticism is the mistake of an act.
Okay, they all left. That's odd. But they're probably just building up their forces to stage another attack in time. We're gonna move there, build a mine on that silver. That is silver, right? Yep, okay. Alright, let's get state workforce finally. And this is the city-state envoy system. What this does is allows you to send diplomatic envoys to various non-civ city-states in the effort to become their suzerain, which, if you have enough envoys in that city-state and are their suzerain, you can do such things as levy that city-state's military for a cost in gold, to give you direct control over those military units for 30 turns, I believe, at least on online speed. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's how that works. Ooh, King Arthur, he's cool. Okay. How long has it been? Holy crap, 43 minutes. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up here, folks, I'm afraid. I know we haven't really done much because I spent 15 minutes just doing my introductory spiel, but there will be much more information to come. I promise you that. So, for now, you've been watching Phenixx Gaming. My name is once again David Sanders. Thank you immensely for your time and viewership, and always remember, this channel would be nothing without the continued support of our friends and fans just like you. Thank you again for watching, and if not before, I'll see you next week.